Now, the hosts over at Fox and Friends really don't want you to get bored by watching the impeachment inquiry hearings on Donald Trump that are slated to start back up on Wednesday of this week. Uh, Now, I want to show you a video of them telling you how horrible and how boring and why you should definitely, totally not watch these impeachment inquiry hearings. Take a look.
It's going to be like a lecture. They're going to have three different lawyers come out and historians come out and say, hey, this is why there should be an impeachment. And one is going to say, this is why this is not impeachable. Right. So if you were bored by the last one, you're going to be really bored by this one. Nobody's been converted. On the left, no one's flipped. And on the right, no one's flipped. And it's really got the left scratching their head.
Oh, I mean, it's so boring. They're going to be talking about, the reasons why the president of the United States should be impeached, for impeachable crimes. And then we're going to have people talking about how he shouldn't get impeached. And, they're probably not going to have a really good argument as like Devin Nunes has been basically crapping himself all week. Every time he comes up to the stand to talk about it, pooping his pants. Okay, maybe not literally, but he might as well be because they don't really have a defense against impeachment. And so here's Fox News saying, don't worry about it. Don't even waste your time. So boring. Yes, so boring. All they're going to do is explain Trump's crimes. You know what? Nobody wants to see that. Go shopping instead. Do something else. This is the message being set out by the largest news network in the country. Although, of course, calling it news is basically an oxymoron at this point. But this is what's wrong with the media. By the way, there's you see all these especially right wing articles, but also from the establishment, where there's no bang, there's no pizzazz in these hearings. Well, these are hearings where they're talking about possible criminal actions by the president of the United States. Why does there need to be bang and pizzazz? Why? It doesn't need to be mindlessly entertaining for you to have to watch it, because it is important when it comes to the future of this country, which, yes, does involve you. What happens at the top, what happens in Congress, what happens at the presidential level, the executive level, does affect you. And so it is important. It's also really important to find out if the president's a criminal or not. But, of course, here you have Fox News saying, nope, no, you might as well just not even watch it. Too boring. Not interesting enough. But look, here's the thing. It's not that it's not interesting enough. It's a distraction. And so Fox News, look, because they have eyes and ears, these guys. Brian Kilmeade has a functioning set of eyes. Of that, at least I can say about Kilmeade and Steve Doocy. The brains behind those eyes, well, not exactly sure how well they work, but they seem to work well enough because this is their job, okay? Their entire job is to be aware and to, watch the impeachment hearings, to at least care about what's going on in the impeachment hearings, because it could lead, very possibly, to a vote to remove the president of the United States. And that's really, really big, really, really newsworthy. And here's the thing. Anybody who's been paying attention and who really takes in the facts, it has got to be kind of concerned about this, because all this testimony has been incredibly damning to the president, to the administration. Here you have administration officials, people working within the Trump administration, even people who gave money to Donald Trump, the fact in the form of Gordon Sondland, who gave money to Trump, gave over $1 million to his campaign, and then got appointed as the ambassador to the EU, saying, yes, quid pro quo, there is extortion. There are terrible things going on right now. And yes, these things are criminal. And you should not be doing, nobody should be doing them. And so, yes, damning testimony. And so this is why Fox News is telling you, whatever you do, don't watch this. Really boring. Stay away from it. Just stay away. Now, to be fair, Judge Napolitano. So now he's a host on Fox News. And so, look, he has been actually incredibly honest and forthright about this when he says actually, yes, there are impeachable crimes here. And so what they're doing is actually correct. They should impeach the president. Now, Napolitano is somebody that I don't agree with on policy at all. And we have significant disagreements. However, he is actually stating factual information that, yes, it turns out you can't actually go and ask a foreign government and push pressure on a foreign government to do something that benefits you as president personally for a political campaign. It's different, actually, and I've seen this comparison, unfortunately, made a lot by right wingers, right? For example, they say, oh, well, Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, they want to put pressure on Israel to stop building illegal settlements. That corruption, quid pro quo. No, that's completely different. Because again, that's an official stance of the United States saying, hey, look, we don't agree with that policy, so we are going to pressure you to change that policy. That does not benefit or help Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren in their political campaigns. I guess maybe you could say later on, well, this is what I did when I was in office. I got Israel to stop building illegal settlements in Palestinian land, therefore helping human rights. Is the GOP then going to turn around and say, corruption, quid pro quo, damn, helping those Palestinians have human rights? Well, you know what? Knowing them, they probably would. They probably would. But okay, look, it's not the same thing. And so that's a terrible, and again, I have seen that argument. That's a terrible argument. No, the whole thing with Hunter Biden, and by the way, Hunter is a corrupt person. Joe Biden, incredibly unfortunate. It is a good example of corruption because the only reason he was part of that board is because he was a Biden. And yes, this company does want access to people in power in order to make, deals that help them. At the same time, this is what Trump did: personal corruption involving his political campaign. And by the way, he didn't even want them to actually do an investigation into the Bidens, just to make a public announcement that would have been good enough for him to release the aid. And the only reason that he did release the aid ultimately without any of that happening is because Congress put pressure on him. So that's what that is. Okay. Anyway, so look, Napolitano, again, pointing out how impeachment is necessary. However, most of the hosts on the network sound a lot like Steve Doocy and Brian Kilmeade. In fact, here you have Stuart Varney, by the way, who also joined the Fox and Friends host. And he had this to say, or this to add to that very same conversation later on. Take a look.
I just want to point out the contrast here. You've got a booming Trump economy, terrific holiday sales, and what have we got in Washington, D.C.? These boring hearings about impeachment, increasingly irrelevant and ignored by people who are getting on with their lives
because
and
it's
investing
political.
and buying.
Right.
I mean, don't you find this ridiculous?
Well, they're going to be interrupting your show with these hearings beginning on Wednesday as well, and I think there's just less interest.
You think it's going to interrupt my show?
Oh, you're not going to take it?
No, are you kidding me?
Okay.
I want to entertain my audience. I want them to watch and be excited.
Right.
I'm not going to put them to sleep.
Interesting admission from Stuart Varney. Again, he claims to have a news show, right? Well, all I want to do is entertain my audience and excite them. I don't want to give them facts. I don't want to give them factual information. Hate it. Don't want to do that. So that's why I'm not going to bother them with the facts. I'm just going to tell them what I want to hear, what I would want to hear, or what they would want to hear. And so that's it. That's what I'm going to do. Sad day for you. If you're actually interested in factual information, which, again, it's a Fox News audience, so I guess they're not. Or they'd be tuning into somewhere else, to be fair. But okay, look. And I love how he says, by the way, the whole thing is irrelevant. Whether the president of the United States committed actual impeachable offenses and could get removed from office, that is somehow irrelevant. Richard Nixon resigned for less than what Trump has purported to have done. I mean, again, look, I guess the situation is different. Now you have an even more deeply corrupt Republican Party and someone in Trump who will never, ever consider resigning from office. I don't think that's going to happen. I think anybody who says that that's going to happen, I don't agree with them. I think they're wrong. I think they put far too much stock in Donald Trump making rational decisions when his brain is essentially melting in real time. And so I don't think that's happening. I think whatever is wrong with him is going to make it impossible for him not to cling to power, especially if he did as much crime as I think that he has done. And so we'll have to see how all that plays out, of course. But it is funny however, that look, this president, like I said, deeply corrupt. That's not the funny part. He abuses his power to try to get personal deals, obstructs justice. But it's funny because they focus on Biden's corruption. And I mentioned that before. They focus, Fox News does, on the Bidens all the time. And on Hillary Clinton too, right? But they don't talk about Donald Trump's corruption at all. It's almost as if, hear me out, they don't actually care about corruption at all, and that it's only all about politics. Weird. And apparently also boring. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a patreon.com/TYTNation set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.